Hello knitters, welcome back to Rena Knits. I am Rena. Thanksgiving is around the corner and fall is here. How have you decorated your home? In today's video, we're going to be looking at how to make branches as well as leaves in order to be able to decorate the home to make it more fallsy or autumn-like. What we're going to learn how to do is actually create the branches as well as the leaves to decorate the house with more fall autumn type decorations. You would take any type of yarn, any various different colors to brighten it up. So the type of yarn I usually prefer is Red Heart, weight of 4. The reason for that is because it's thick enough that I don't need to double it up, and it's easy for me to use it on any size 7, US size 7 needles. So this is the yarn that I'm going to be using, Red Heart. As you can see, it's a weight of 4. The needle size that it tells me to use is a 5mm or US 8. So I usually use anything over US 7, between US 7 and US 10. So that way then it gives me consistency as well as the thickness for my branches. And then I'm able to just make the leaves as well with that. Once you have your yarn, what you would do is on your needles, so I'm using straight needles, I would cast on 3 stitches. So once you've cast on 3 stitches, now if you want branches that are a little thicker or a little wider, then you would cast on a few more stitches, but I'm usually sticking to 3. And then my pattern is basically knit on the right side, and then I would purl on the wrong side, or the other side. Now if you understand a bit of the knitting pattern, you would know that this is basically creating a stockinette pattern. So you would basically be creating a stockinette pattern. You won't be able to really see it yet. So you would keep doing the same thing, knit on one side and purl on the other till you get the desired length of your branch. Now to make it really decorative or a unique style, you could have some that are really tiny branches, some that are really long branches, and just decorate it all over. It actually looks really neat. So as you can tell here, you could start seeing the stockinette pattern. So if you look here, this is the stockinette pattern that will come. Now the reason for this is because with the stockinette pattern, what happens is that the ends curl in, so you don't really need to do much to get that roundish shape, because the ends automatically curl in, and therefore you get that branch type look on the yarn. So you would basically keep knitting till you get the desired length. Then you would just cast off your yarn and cut it off. Cast off your stitches and then cut it off, and that is how you would get your branches. If you're enjoying this video, definitely give me a thumbs up. And if you're new, don't forget to subscribe and click on that alert button so you'll be aware of when the next video is up. To do the leaves, you would start off by casting on 3 stitches. After you've cast on 3 stitches, you would purl the first row. Then you would knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1. Then the back side, you would purl. So every other row is a purl row. Now row number 4, you would knit 2, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 2. And then you would purl the next row. And then this time around, you would knit 3 and yarn over. Then knit 1, yarn over, knit 3. And then the next row is all purl. And then the next one, guess how many we need to knit? We need to knit 4. So you would keep continuing this pattern until you get the desired length, half the length that you want of your leaf. Yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit. So as you can see, this is the pattern you're starting to see of the leaf. So you would continue on until you get the desired length, and then we will start decreasing. So once you've reached your desired length, last row you do is the purl row. And now you would start decreasing to get the same shape coming back out. So the first decrease is basically a slip, slip, knit. So you basically slip 2 and then knit them 2 together. And then the next rows, you would next stitches you would basically knit all the way until you get to the last 2. Those 2 you would knit together. Then the back row again is all purl. and then you would do the same pattern. You would slip, slip, and then knit 2 together, and then you would knit till the last 2 stitches. And these 2 you would knit together, and then again you would purl. So you would continue this till you get to your last 3 stitches, and those 3 you would cast off as you normally would, and then you would just cut off the string and you have your leaf. So I'm at my last 3 stitches that I'm purling, and then I'm gonna end with binding them off. So I basically knit, knit, pull over, pull over, and then I would just cut this off. So this is how you would get your leaves. Now, one little trick that I'm going to show you next is how, if you don't want these particular holes, like you want it basically like this, with no holes, there's a particular trick that you could do to avoid this. So let's say you're making your leaf, and you started increasing as I showed you earlier. So we're on the increase part. So I'm gonna knit 3, and then yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, and knit 3 again. Now, it's during the purling that you would purl slightly differently in order to avoid getting that hole in your leaf. So when I'm purling, I would purl normally the ones that have already been knit. It's the yarn over one that, rather than purling from here, the inside, I'm going to actually take the outside bit, the outside yarn, part of the stitch, and purl. And then purl normal, and then I'm going to again take the outside bit and purl, and then just purl as normal. So I'm going to show it again. So as you can see, I'm not getting those holes that I got here. So I'm going to knit 4, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 4. That's during the purling stage that I would purl the yarn over stitch differently. So I've purled 4. Then this one, rather than purling from here, I would purl from the opposite side instead, and then just purl normally. So rather than purling from here, I would purl from here to avoid the hole, and then purl. And this way you avoid getting the holes right there. So that's the other way to make your leaves. Now, if you want smaller or bigger, you just decrease the number of times you increase going in and that's the same amount you would decrease coming out. So here I increased 6 times in order to get this size of a leaf. To get longer, I would increase more times. So it just depends on how big or small a leaf you want. But this is how you would make your leaves and your branches. Now, if you want to attach your leaf to the branch, you would leave a little bit of yarn, and then you would just take a needle and knot it through. So I'm just going to use my hand for a second here. So I would just bring it here and then just knot it through. So if you leave it a little longer, you're able to do this without a problem. And this way you have your leaf attached to your branches. That's basically what I've done here. And this way you're able to decorate your home with branches and leaves. I hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely give me a thumbs up. If you have any comments, don't forget to write them down in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe. Until next week, relax, enjoy, and keep knitting.